Well, we'll see if he's getting a helping hand in this one, or if he's going to be forced to make it quick, because we're starting off into this first map, Invictus versus ZIGMA. It should be a quick series, so hopefully it takes Stinko just a few minutes, like you said, as we come on in
to get food, of course.
yes, absolutely, to make some food. Well, I hope he doesn't need it. ZIGMA are in a position now with a CT side start that hopefully they'll be able to get off to at least something pretty, because in this series, I would imagine, and to me, the way the world is on Invictus to just come in and smash them.
Yeah, I think as well, like you might see levels of disrespect. Maybe that'll be one way they can actually get into this game. The problem is, I think the level of the opponent they've struggled against so far is like some decent individual players, and then like you look at it and go, okay, but they didn't have any strategy. Whereas Invictus do have that basis to fall back on. They've got a good mix as well. It's not just necessarily one player that's just carrying them through. I think everybody can hold their own weight. And players like Zhao Sage actually seem to have quite an intelligent way of approaching the game. So I think that, again, like if Invictus do struggle in this series, then I don't think we can even put them as a contender within this tournament, because obviously they've still got some pretty tough opponents to face against. They choked quite heavily facing off against Vici, although they have beaten Beyond already. Actually, out of all the teams, they've played against some of the tougher ones, I suppose. You've still got, obviously, the likes of Tai Lu, and we still don't know what to expect from Tiger in the majority of these matches. So it's not going to get easier from here. But, okay, you beat Beyond, you lost to Vici. But those results are fine. Realistically, they probably should have taken a map of Vici, but whatever. If they lose to ZIGMA, we're looking at this in a completely different way. This isn't like, oh, this is a slight upset. This would be probably the biggest upset we've seen of the tournament so far. And I'm just setting that up because I don't believe that's going to happen. It's just the premise of this should be a quick 2-0. They've got their two most played maps. Granted, they've played 17 maps of both Mirage and Nuke. But, well, they actually have a worse win rate on Nuke. And then a lot of the other maps that we sort of look at, like, for example, a Train, they've got a really high win rate, but only played it 6 times. So, if anything, this is their map pool. Vertigo is also one that ZIGMA have a 0% win rate on. So, that should be another pretty easy game for them. So, realistically, it should be a 2-0. If it's not, Invictus have made some mistakes.
I'd be inclined to agree with you there, Tom. I'm glad we got that whole pre-game out of the way. That took a while for the boys to start it up, but now we're ready to go. Ready to swing on in.
Talk, to be honest. Wow. There's such a big ego nowadays.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's almost as long as his hair.
Whoa, what is...
I don't know. That's for you to find out.
I'm looking forward to finding out. Let's be careful what we say, though. We don't want to get Dinko too excited, though. We know how that can end.
Some would call it happy. Either way, it is going to be the T's building up in towards this B site. Only 2 to defend. Look at the push from Reality Jesus, though. This is a name I'm looking forward to casting. One of many. The other is on your screen. Having the name PP and Destroyer in the same server that's a dangerous game. But yeah, they managed to basically get themselves into an afterplant position. There is a flash. Now, I like to see the smoke and kick combo, especially in pistol rounds. I think it either gives you the ability to gain a lot of space or to just try and sneak defuse the bomb. This retake, though, is actually going fantastically well. 3 kills already. It's left on to Bottle, who's stuck in the corner, but he's managed to get 3 kills. They'll finally put him down, and luckily the kit is available. Now, I can almost guarantee this man's buying straight back in with an AK. When you have 37.50 going into things, the game is almost just tempting you. They would have to go for SMGs on the other players if they were to take that risk, but personally, I'd like to see them force.
Seeing them force the issue and get up early would be nice for sure, especially when you're the team that comes in as the favorites. I think I don't like that buy from the CT side. There are a lot of SMGs in play, and for Invictus, this is somewhere that a force buy could have really helped them out massively to bridge that. Doesn't look like they've gone for it though, Town, does it? There's nothing there for them.
Disappointed.
Yeah. They're making the scared plays. I mean, technically, it's the smart ones, right? They've managed to get a bomb plant in. Sometimes you'll get a force buy, and honestly, I'm a fan of the force buy in this round because you literally have the exact same buy as your opponents.
Well, I like it on this map in particular because the economy is so important for the CT side. Like getting all the extra utility is just going to be clinical in this match. So unless they do some real damage here, you're basically giving the CTs a better chance. Whereas in this round, sure, they invested more into utility, but they have some weaponry or vulnerability. So I think that there's an argument for both. Like this is the safer route, but I prefer the riskier play. Now they're going to start putting the pressure on the B side. There is only one defender, but the Molotov will buy time for a second to rotate in. They're going to go for the boost. I pray to God the teams are going to check the boost in this game. I cannot cope with another match that he's checked. Oh, I love Zhao Sage. Honestly, it's only one kill, but do you know what he does? He goes, you know what? There's probably someone on the boost, Mitch. There's probably someone there. I will pre-fire it as I walk in. It's amazing how, like, very minor details, things that you could almost call basics, make me very happy nowadays.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what you get after watching enough of Bren and Checkmate and after playing as if they have no brain. So this is a nice little change to what we're used to. No moronic Counter-Strike here. And just in case you think that's too harsh, these blokes literally went B, what, 3 times in a row and didn't check boost any of those 3 times and got killed from boost all 3 times. So, yeah, Nifty's just killed himself. ZIGMA are down a man in a very important round, right? They invested a lot into this one, the reinvestment into utility. And never mind, I take back what I said previously. Yeah, Moronic Counter-Strike is back because Just Cause has walked out through balcony, not even expecting a player to be near the site, despite the fact that they just lost the duel on mid about half an hour ago. All right. So we're in for one of these games, then, I guess.
They managed to take the A site, taking 3 damage, and using not many nades. Like, look, they've still got 4 smokes, a Molotov, 4 flashbangs, and an HE. How? I genuinely how? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's way too easy. Like, I thought Invictus were gonna win, but I thought at least we might see double digits for ZIGMA. But if it's gonna be that easy for a team to take the A site, which is normally one where you have to use a hell of a lot of utility, I want to see Molotovs in the pit. I want to see smokes falling down to cover the arch. So, what? I'm sure Mitch, there's no one here at this point, right?
Woosah. We go back to the, you know, in fairness, this region has helped me out with my asthma a lot because I've had to get much better at controlling my breathing watching things like this. Just deep breaths. It's all okay. It's been a wild round. I love how we just got the replay as well of Nifty running through his own molly to kill himself in a full buy round where they'd be forced to an eco afterwards. Yeah, you know.
You sacrifice some of your health to the god of fire.
And he does nothing for you.
You're a man who believes in spirits, I'm sure. I'm sure you believe in the god of fire. Either way, just a few pistols in this round. Obviously, you got Mr. PP over on the other side. I'm sure he appreciates that name. Just going to be sat there with the rifle. It's weird to me that... Okay, so this is a round where you're going to take risks, right? That's a nice shot. They don't actually rotate a player. They've actually pushed down further. Nifty's got an awful lot of information, but they've lost arch control because of it. Now, either this flank at least nets a kill, which it might. Bottle is probably unaware, but the timing is a bit rough. Like a roller coaster. Unfortunately, the emotion's only disappointment as he doesn't actually get anything done. Bottle's actually still alive. Now, I would like to see PP Overdose save this, but he's decided he'd rather die. So, well, he's going to be left with the bare bones rifle into the next round. I mentioned probably about 2 minutes ago, maybe 3, how important utility is on this map. So unless he's going to avoid going for a rifle, which, okay, he goes for a FAMAS, and that's respectable, but he could have just had the rifle and everything else. I don't think there was any way he was ever going to win that round. Maybe trying to make things a bit more costly for the T's, but realistically, they won the last round with 0 people dying, so their money was never going to be hurt.
I think for ZIGMA, you got to be in a bit of a high pressure environment, right? They threw away an opportunity the previous round. They should have a good start into this half already, and if they lose this round, well, it will not be a good start, put it simply. Exciting to see them come through with a bit of a turnaround from what we just saw. This buy round has a lot of weight on it. Now, obviously, it's looking better than the others already. They haven't lost a pick on top Banana. They haven't killed themselves on Banana with a Molotov. And, you know, that's pretty much where I draw the line and say, that's better. We're improving here, boys. Well done. Yeah, ZIGMA looked like a good team the first time that we saw them, and since then, they didn't. But that's a good start. And there's a tutorial on why not to spray through smokes like that for 30 bullets. So PP, he's going through the smoke. I like this. I like the play. He gets, oh my God, turn around. Shosage had no idea that he was there. He was just hugging him back to back, taking down the kills. And with that, Invictus are behind by miles.
Yeah, they're both so low. There shouldn't really be any chance here for Flying to win this one out. And at least get the bomb down, earn himself a little bit of extra cash, but realistically, they'll get the trade instantly. So, great work. A huge risk, obviously, by Mr. Overdose. As he basically ran through without any utility. Just tried to take a peek and managed to win it out just off the surprise factor. It's one of those hero plays that I think is going to work 1 in 10 times, and luckily for him, it was the 1, because if he goes down, that's round over already. Instead, they get the victory, but the T's are not going to have any trouble buying back up into this one. They've got plenty of cash. Viva was starting this round with 10,000. Well, there was actually a flash. It was just a really low thrown flash. So it didn't actually catch anyone, I don't think.
That's a round that they do not deserve. Like, just fundamentally, that was unreal by PP to go through the smoke the way he did and take a 3K, some Jam Young-esque plays. But it's all about consistency, and from what we've seen, ZIGMA don't have it in them to pull those out round after round, so we've got to see them then come in with a much better start, and that certainly is a better start. Niffy right down Banana. We've seen this man kill himself. We've seen him get shot through the smoke after spamming 30 bullets, and now finally, he's managed to find an opening duel on Banana and fall back into a position where they can play off of.
Oh, Viva having a bit of a rough start to this round and the match. Smokes can be thrown out. They're going to go for the boost. They are. So Just Cause going to be peeking over the top. Spam through doesn't net him anything. Still can't really see at all. These have actually created a bit of a rotation into a more passive hold for ZIGMA. Obviously, they do still have 2 players on this B site, so it's not really the end of the world. Both actually playing very far back, and I imagine, yeah, it's the boost in play. This position's normally good for 1, so I think you're going to be more reliant on PP. Overdose. Oh, they actually checked the close angle first, and they're not ready for that second player. PP again looking to hold the line, and he's doing a fantastic job. It's left all onto Zalsage, and although he will go... what? Excuse me?
I have no idea.
That's unreasonable. Reality Jesus is probably blaming his father for that one, because there was the luck of the gods on his opponent's side.
Yeah, I think he's going to be questioning reality after that one, because it was unbelievable. Nice little spray by Shosage, picking up players through smokes. But it's not enough.
He was probably a little bit cross. Ah!
Jesus.
Yes.
That's blasphemy, Tom. You can't say yes to that.
Well, you shouldn't be using the Lord's name in vain.
Oh, we smack him back with that.
Yeah, I got an A and RE at GCSE.
I'm Irish. I feel like I beat you on this immediately.
You're forced into religion.
Exactly. We are. It's beaten into us. But look, on a 4-2 scoreline, ZIGMA are ahead. They're looking like they're winning, but I don't really feel like they are going to. I'm still in there with Invictus. I need to see a lot more from the ZIGMA lineup before I swap sides and start to actually feel like some of the plays are coming through are repeatable and planned. I've had a couple of nice positions like the early boost and banana, but it is these nifty little tricks from Niffy. You can't pull them out every single round. I need to see
also the big PP plays that have
absolutely
been coming out. He's been able to hold it down, and that's been enough for them so far. It's going to be him as the solo player on this B site. Destroyer trying to sell a bit of a fake. Do a bit of damage, but in the meantime, his teammates have actually gone forward. Destroyer gets a kill as well, so that will hold the remaining players over. But again, we're going to see this fast rotation. Just Cause pushing him from behind. Flying is waiting for him, but he still can't win the duel. And there's a second player there. Not going to go down for Just Cause, so he will be able to survive. PP Overdose trying to spam in some utility. He's going to run through this smoke again. Second one, Flash is great, but this time Viva's good for the trade. It's left into a 2 versus 2. Reality Jesus hoping to try and find something through the smoke, but nothing is going to come through. And Just Cause has actually gone on a long rotation away from Banana, all the way back round for CT to try and group up with his teammate.
Be a long one for Reality. I'm going to eventually start making his move in. Bogdan's Law comes in. Just Cause is going to be the one that's getting that op. And oh my god, what a swift conclusion to this one for ZIGMA. Great retake. Great allocation of their weapons. And they both hit their shots straight away. It's exactly what you needed to see. And 5-2 on the board now for ZIGMA. As I said, a good retake for them in that round. They have managed to trade back the kills, at least when they were in this position, pulling it back to a 2 versus 2. I feel like, you know, when I look at Invictus at the moment, they're missing some of the key players that we talk about a lot. Obviously, Xiaosage is there. He is there in force. But Viva flying, they're not quite showing up to the extent that they normally do.
Yeah, it's definitely been a quieter start for them. Of course, the pressure is still on. That is aggressive from Niffy, and they're going to go pushing into Xiaosage. He's only good for one. The trade's fine, and it seems like ZIGMA's plan in a lot of these cases is actually just to dislodge Invictus with aggressive plays. Something quite common on this map, especially with the banana pushes. Already, though, T-side have made a lot of space. Destroyer just walks out of apartments, looking to try and clear the pit, not ready for the AWP to be holding the angle, and bit of a silly mistake. A 4 versus 4, seeming like a good position. Just Cause holding patiently on the angle. Not going to be thrown over. The peak is wide, and somehow he manages to get 2. Finally, there's a trade back, but it always seems to be far too late. Always once the round is already won. 45 seconds for Viva to try and get something done here, and can't say that I'm much of a believer at this point. There is a bit of a wide peak coming out from Rolex, a risk that wasn't really necessary. Eventually, Reality Jesus comes back into closer round. ZIGMA 6-2. Invictus, as of yet, have not really shown up.
I am getting a little bit worried, I'll be honest. Like, the reality is ZIGMA are in this position where, you know, I consider and say, oh, well, Vivo, they'll come back in. They're just, they're making these kind of mistakes, blah, blah. The reality is ZIGMA are looking good. There's no denying it with the scoreline that's in their favor. And if Invictus don't wake up, if we don't see Flying and Viva come through and start delivering these big plays that we're used to seeing, well, then that one clutch, that one lucky play, the second lucky play as well that came in, might be enough to give the map over towards ZIGMA, at least to give them massive advantage coming into the next half. It's getting a little bit scary.
On this round at least. 5 deeks. They really are just trying some ridiculous solo plays. Just walking up mid. Going on a little jaunt to try and find a kill, some information. This time they've set Reality Jesus up. It's a bit weird that you've got PP Overdose just sat at the back of site. I'm guessing he's boosted up. And thus, it's just part of the plan to almost just bait them in with the AWP. I'd prefer a little bit more team play, a bit more synergy, because if he goes down, there is no chance of a trade in a free AWP into the hands of the opponents. He's actually not boosted up, so this makes even less sense. It's almost like they're just trying to sell it as a 4-1, I guess. Say that the other players have rotated away and hope that the opponents don't check, which is very much a possibility. It is common that you see this, but there goes one, and yep, they don't check. But he's only got 1 kill so far. Needs to get more. Flying has come in. Now they've got an AWP, or had an AWP, and an AK. And again, the trade comes a little bit too late. In isolation, this round's not bad. If they get a bomb plant, especially, the flash comes through. He's dead. He shouldn't be able to get around the corner, but they're a little bit slow. The spray down is close. It's a really nice attempt from Invictus and Flying, but it is still going to be ZIGMA taking a 7th round.
It's getting very, very scary at this stage, isn't it? I mean, no matter how close these rounds are coming, the 2v2s, the 1v1s, they're not going Invictus's way. And, you know, we often end up in a position where we're saying, oh, well, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of these rounds were close, blah, blah, blah. If the team wins every single clutch situation, I don't think there's any denying they look like the better team, right?
Well, as of right now, they're looking dicey. They've still had glimmers of what we expect to see from them, but they haven't been able to close any of these rounds. It's sort of the classic. Like, you look at the amount of money that ZIGMA have. This does not look like a team that have won like a fair few rounds in a row. It looks like a team that's had a real back and forth, but just none of the rounds have actually been closed. In fact, it is 5 rounds in a row now for the side of ZIGMA. Had a few sort of questionable plays in the early rounds, but I have to say they're not looking anywhere near as bad as they did when they played against After. Maybe just playing down to the level of that team. Aggressive play. Nice shot from Viva, though. An important opener. We see the AWP kind of switch between him and Destroyer, depending on the situation, and Flying, waiting on the edge of the smoke. Much better stuff. They're catching these aggressive plays out, which was something that, as said, that seemed to be the reaction from ZIGMA in a lot of these rounds. PP Overdose has rotated in quite quickly, though, and they've left Niffy as the solo player towards this B site. He might be called upon here, as we are now seeing the rotation coming back. 3 players looking to try and put pressure on the B site, but because of this, they've given a 1v1 duel, and Destroyer's gone down, leaving Niffy in a position where even if he gets a kill here, his teammates are going to have an opportunity. There goes the smokes, the flashbangs over the top, the spam through is going to be met by nothing, and he's got to be careful not to fall. But all in all, from a 5v3, this is winnable.
It is. It is winnable when you look over towards the Invictus side, and that should be it. Should be at lockdown. Rolex, they don't even have the money to go for this. And this is what we were talking about, right? A lot of these rounds have been very close. So you can see that ZIGMA just don't have the money to really commit towards a retake like this. And Rolex, yeah, he's definitely not going to go for it, but he's going to look for exits as well. And it's not even a bad play. Like, their buy is going to be terrible in the next round. And even that 1 rifle removed from the T-side's hands is going to cause them a bit of knockback if they lose the next round. Obviously, it's unlikely considering, as I said, the buy being so weak for ZIGMA, but I don't mind it. I feel like it's a risky play. Like, if it was me, to put it this way, if it was me, I would call for that save, the hard save. I wouldn't value the exit that much, just because it's likely Invictus build that money up coming into this round, and I'd rather have the AK to do damage coming into this one when you've got teammates to back you up. But it's not the worst if you can maybe trap him in with the bomb, and I can see arguments for it.
I think that interests me is well, at least in my eyes, ZIGMA have bought way too much.
1350, 1200, 1000, 100%. Yeah.
So they can't buy next round. So I don't. The thing that like if you go all in here, I may not necessarily agree, but I understand it. Like you're saving money to eventually get your full buy. If you save here completely, understand it. You want to come back in and with a buy in the next round. This is just a mid ground that makes no sense because you're removing the chance or lowering the chance of you winning the round because none of you have armor or any utility, but you're also removing the chance of you buying into the next round. The only sort of question you could say is they want to make sure they have absolutely everything going in a couple of rounds time, which I guess could make a bit of sense, but it still just seems like an odd one. And well, with the rifle falling, one of the pistols as well, I wouldn't even mind if they just saved into the next round. I don't know how that's happened. Like Destroyer is having a really rough game, and I feel like a lot of his plays rely on him doing something sneaky, like individually getting somewhere. Like we saw it a lot on Nuke yesterday, where he was playing really well when he was able to sneak outside, catch people off guard. And once Vici adapted to like hold outside a little bit better, I don't even know if he got a kill since. And now that like I don't personally, I don't think he has that many levels to his game, is what I'm trying to say. So, for example, this game hasn't been going very well. He's still trying to make those plays which are completely unnecessary. He doesn't need to be aggressive in library with an AK. The rest of his teammates were just hiding back and holding onto their weaponry. He's given a free rifle over now. Completely unnecessary.
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to see teams move towards hard stat-based decisions. Like I feel like what we've got for ZIGMA in that instance was just a straight up, oh, I want a deagle. And so they have a deagle. And then in this round, they're like, I want an M4, but I can't afford one. How's this happened? That doesn't make sense. But even when it comes towards some other teams, I've seen teams take ecos in positions where they can cripple their opponent's economy and vice versa, actually force buying, not fully knowing, evidently, like their percentage win rate when it comes into these kind of force buys. Like, if you're going to win the majority of your force buy rounds, it's worth going for. But I feel like a lot of teams will judge based on feeling more so. And I guess it's because a lot outside of the top 20 don't have analysts to work with. How's this happen?
Oh, he jumped through the smoke. That's so unlucky. That is so unlucky. He's lighting up the headshot, and just as he goes to shoot, his opponent jump throws a smoke, so he shoots him in the butt cheeks instead of in the head. That is probably painful, but well, a flawless try. And this is sort of the difference, right? The rounds to Invictus, that this is now what, the second, maybe even third. No, obviously they lost one in the last round because Destroyer decided to play very aggressive. But this is like the second completely flawless round that they've managed to win. Obviously, one of the other rounds was with 4 players. So like, these rounds have been so much cleaner for Invictus that they just managed to basically get themselves a huge bank of cash to rely on. Whereas the CT side have consistently had issues. Aren't you going to see the double up in as well? Now, I don't think ZIGMA were playing particularly bad without it. I've sort of harped on a lot of teams because they seem to force the double up setup for absolutely no reason at all, even with players that don't seem to be particularly good at AWPing. Hello, Tiger. And yeah, we're going to see whether or not this one will work. That is a really bold peek. They just ran straight through, and luckily there was a huge whiff out from Reality Jesus. So they got a bit lucky here. I think this round could have easily gone the other way, but okay, Flying. I think he's had enough. Like, this seems to be like a player who's just gone, okay, all right, guys, that's too much. Like, this is now getting out of hand, and he's just gone ham. But yeah, there was, as they ran out, I don't believe anybody actually checked short side, and there were 2 players there, and neither of them got a kill.
Yeah. It looked like Reality Jesus had sort of intruded on a party. You know, he'd snuck up behind them. They had no idea he was there. But the thing is, for ZIGMA, 7 rounds, right? They're in a good spot. They were. But now with 6 picked up for Invictus, it's already a good T-half. And this is what I was worried about. This is why I wasn't coming in saying, oh, ZIGMA, they're dominating. They're unreal. because Viva, once these guys step up, what I was waiting for them to do for, 9 rounds. Once it eventually happens, you end up in this position where, okay, Invictus are right back in the game. They're T-side Inferno. They're coming right back into it, and this is fine. Anything they get from here forward is a bonus, and they're set up versus a very weak buy from ZIGMA, so odds are this round goes their way. And you can see even ZIGMA agree, not force buying it up, but instead conceding this one essentially. Playing with the AWP, with the pistols, but keeping the majority of their money for the next round.
Oh, the Molotov didn't quite land where it was supposed to, but neither did the shot. Not the easiest shot in the world to hit, but in rounds like this, that can definitely make all the difference. And they managed to take banana control, but with the AWP being spotted, you just hit A, right? You're not really going to risk going anywhere near that. Reality Jesus, as you could see, he's saving up for his AWP once again. Niffy probably going to buy another one, although I haven't seen it in action just yet. I think that's maybe one of the first shots he's actually fired of it. Now with under a minute on the clock, it seems like the T's, they've gained the space they need. Nice shot from Rolex. There's also going to be an aggressive push from Reality Jesus. I thought he was just going to hold in the apartments, but clearly wanted to try and catch someone off guard. In these sort of rounds, you can kind of understand the risks. Just cause living a little bit longer than expected. But eventually, it's quite clinical. And as you can see, the AWP is already dashing away towards the spawn. So 7-7. So this was 7-2? Ooh. Yeah, 7-2. So this has definitely slipped away. It did seem like it took a little bit of time for Invictus to really build into this one. I think also, like, it's quite common, in fact, especially with the matches we've seen so far in this tournament, the better team a lot of the time goes down a few rounds because, well, ZIGMA were doing silly things. So Invictus are just like, well, Vici wouldn't do that. What's going on? And then after a while they go, okay, guys, for the first minute, let's do nothing. Like, what? Like, do nothing? Why are we doing? You just hold, and they'll give us a kill. And well, that has been the case. Like, even in this round, they get the first kill, and then someone just runs in and goes, ah, and just gets instantly shot. So, also, I think a couple of their players, for example, Flying had a really slow start to the game. He now has 16 kills. Destroyer's still not having the best game, and Viva had a couple of good rounds, but nothing to write home about. So, yeah, they're now like booming with cash. 15,000 for Viva, 13,900 for Flying, and they're looking to just take this half home. And actually, we don't see the secondary AWP pick back up. That's almost perfectly described what I was talking about, like literally a second ago. Like, yeah. Oh, let's just wait, and he just runs into the crosshair of banana. Like that's madness. Yeah.
So, advice for you at home: if you're gonna do that, have a flash. Like, have one of your teammates flash for you. Don't just wide swing banana in a versus a full buy round where you know there's an AWP on the other side, especially when they have been holding and waiting for your peaks. That was ludicrous. Borderline stupidity.
Oh dear. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. They're flashing through the smoke. This makes me feel uncomfortable. Neither of them. That seems to keep happening for Invictus. Everybody looks the same way. Like, no, there's supposed to be synergy where one of you looks one way, one of you looks the other way. So, oh, I thought he got him. It was actually a nade. Destroyer now. 1 versus 3. Looking like ZIGMA are going to get themselves the half unless this man can finally step up and do the things we were seeing of him yesterday. He did have an overall good series versus Beyond, or no, versus Vici. And versus Beyond, to be fair. Looking for the cross. First shot, gonna go a miss. He somehow gets the second one, and what? This is all slipping away. There's only 10 seconds on the clock. He needs to get on the bomb. He's got it just about. That is very lucky for ZIGMA. They've made my butt cheeks clench there, but they will get themselves the defuse.
Tom, what did I say about exciting Dinko? Come on. Gotta keep it nondescript on this one.
I don't want him to miss the next segment.
Trying to speed it up. Good man. I respect it. Only takes a few minutes, he said, so I think he means it. They certainly had a few minutes in this game anyways, because it has gone to a decent distance in this first half. We're sat at 8-7. Curious strategy for the final round as well. 4v4, pushing a B, don't look at sight. It's sort of like in the movies when they say, like, just look at the sunset. So they can give them a nice peaceful end. Like, rush into B.
I just wonder if maybe Bottle and Oi played different. Like, he used to always look right, and now he just can't get out of his head. Because that's happened a few times now. It happened when they rushed into the A site or into mid. Everybody looked left. Nobody looked towards the short side, and they just got away with it because some shots were whiffed. Like that's now happened 2, maybe 3 times when they're pushing somewhere where they both look the same way. So I just wonder if that's just down to they're both used to doing it and, and just forgot that they're supposed to be looking the other way. Early kill goes the way of the CT side, but now it's left all onto Zhao Sage. Clinical first shot. Needs a second. He needs at least one more, and he gets it. That's going to set his teammates up for a retake. They do have a kit available. They're also using a flash, interestingly. As said, personally, I like a smoke, but I can see the benefits, especially on Inferno. Flash through. This battle's important. Rolex needs to win it, and he's not going to. It's left all onto Niffy. Will Niffy be a bit whiffy? No, he won't. 2 quick kills. Bomb not yet being defused. Oh, the timing just about works out for him. Bottle does have the kit, but we've got a game of Ring Around the Rosie. He's going to get himself down, and he wins the clutch. It's an important pistol for ZIGMA. They've now won both of them. They've got everything they need. They had a 7-2 start. They should be taking this map, but they are up against one of the titans of Asian Counter-Strike, so not a believer just yet.
Yeah, massive problem there for Invictus, just going in one by one. I appreciate
not
Destroyer.
to play
Like, I appreciate Destroyer dying. Like, he'd already taken a frag. He got isolated. It's fine. But then in the 2v1 group up, for God's sake, and push together. What are you doing? This is like kindergarten level Counter-Strike. It's something you can't really allow to just slip out of your hands. 4 Deagles, yeah, that's the play. There we go, Viva. Oh my God, what is going on? This Deagle, he's just torn them apart. And what did I tell you, Tom? The formula, it's been proven.
Okay, quick reactions from Rolex. They do still have an AK available to them, and only 1 man left on the A site. They haven't managed to retrieve any of the weaponry either, so it is still just going to be the Deagles available to them. They've actually gambled a player back towards A, so that would be the rotation out from Viva. Still technically on for the ace. Flying and Bottle both still with smokes, actually, so that they could use a little bit of utility to try and deny. This is going to come down to a 1v1 for Bottle. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, he's not been baited just yet. He's actually going to go all the way back to the site and just try and hold more passively. Push coming in, that's an easy kill, and now they've realized this fake really hasn't worked too well, but PP overdose. That AK comes into play, goes for the deep smoke, taken into CT. A little bit unfortunate they're actually both coming from Banana. So he's going to try and get aggressive, and that smoke might actually give him away a little bit. Because you'll see that smoke, you'll know that it's gone down, and you'll realize, okay, chance... Oh, is he actually just... Oh, dear. He's now completely sectioned off. This is going to be quite confusing for him, especially trying to make his way through. We've seen him make this play multiple times. It worked once. It didn't quite work the second. He's going to make it work again, though. Oh, they are clutching at straws, literally, to win these rounds. That's a 1v3, and you guessed it, a 1v3 to win 2 rounds in a row. ZIGMA, they've just got a couple of players that are dragging them through, and one of them is Mr. PP.
The PP is certainly gigantic when it comes down to impact, and that's what we like to see, right? This guy isn't here to mess around. He's here to dominate and win these games. That's exactly what he's doing for his team. 10-7 is one hell of a scoreline. It's a position for ZIGMA where they've got to be over the moon at the moment. Like, the position that they're in, round-wise, is fantastic. Now, what remains to be seen, though, is whether they can deliver time after time. And I think, you know, when you look at Invictus, you really have to believe that there's just going to be this element that they're just going to pop back up out of nowhere. Viva again on a Deagle, able to do this damage, and considering the impact that they managed to have on such a weak buy in the previous round, you definitely don't want to challenge that Deagle all too many times. You don't want to give him the space or the time of day.
Yeah, they can't even really afford to lose any more players. Like this is already getting costly enough, and they've got Just Cause actually trapped in this corner. Viva might not know if he's crossed back. I guess that's the only saving grace here. They're keeping the majority of their players on B, and it does look like they're still planning on pushing in this direction. Oh, he was still moving. He was still moving. Viva, stop it! This is insane. Back-to-back rounds with this Deagle. He shouldn't buy anything else. 30 seconds left. Viva's going to take a tag. They eventually clear this back corner. And now Destroyer's walk through. He's got one off the back of the boost. Peeking in his left all onto Rolex. He now needs to 1v4. It's been clutch after clutch. A 1v3 in the pistol. 1v3 in the force buy round. He needs a 1v4 in 13 seconds. It's not happening. Viva is an absolute machine. Is that back-to-back quad kills he's just got off the back of a Deagle?
Yep. Like, what do you do against that? What do you do? The position right now for Viva, as I said, you know, when you look at him on the Deagle, it's not something that you want to really give the space at the time of day to just shine on through, and they gave him every opportunity, pushing into him one at a time as he just domed. Look at it. It's disgusting. It really and truly is.
It was 3 and 4. It was 3 and 4.
Oh, 3 and 4. Okay.
Even still. That's
yeah. I'm not going to call him a
$700 investment. This guy has just gone from being like one of the quieter players in this match to one of the top fraggers. And now, while the Deagles on the other side are not doing anything of the sort, flying, it's just in spawn. Just Cause is in the smoke. They've all walked past him. They've all walked past him. No, no, not again. Oh, thank you. Aviva is the Deeg and the anti-Deeg at the same time. Rolex, he's still going to get one, but Bottle will be there to close it out. 10-9. That was a force buy, just in case you didn't know. So that is now going to have to be the eco round. And, well, unless they have some Viva level plays, they are going to be falling behind, as the scoreline will be 10-10.
Well, you never know. I mean, there's not 4 Eagles in play for ZIGMA, so obviously they're not going to win this round. They haven't figured out the magic formula just yet. But this round could go their way if they weren't just getting absolutely wrecked. Torn apart. Finish it through the smoke. Go on, boys. Niffy somehow just clinging on to life here. That nade. Oh, he's on 2 HP. And he sprayed back. He's gone. He's dead. That's like, you know, you watch Star Wars, Tom. You know the trash compactor scene?
Where's this guy?
You know in the trash compactor. I think it's episode 4.
Yeah, I know. And there's the monster underneath in the water.
Yeah, I was just going with the walls. I don't have anything for the monster. Maybe it's the nade. Maybe it's Dinko's big monster. But who knows?
Oh dear.
The Dingo buys those large cans of Monster. He likes to drink lots of energy drinks.
Well, yeah, and his girlfriend loves Monster Munch.
In fairness, Monster Munch, absolutely banging. They are gorgeous.
Yeah, great crisps. Great crisps.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a bad joke.
Mighty Munch, on the other hand, trash. I'm so disappointed, dude. I was in Lidl. I picked up 2 Mighty Munch because I thought they were Monster Munch. I was like, hell yeah, dude! They've got them in Lidl.
Oh,
this is sick.
Munch.
Yeah, they're a purple bag and they're like pickled onion and they taste like ass. They're terrible.
How do they get away with this?
See, isn't it? And the thing is, the rule. I remember we studied it. You studied marketing, right? Isn't it like an idiot in a rush or something like that? So if you think I need a drink really quickly, and you run into a store and you see a can that looks exactly like a can of Coke, but it's called Cola Coca, for example. But you run in, you see red, you see the silver writing, the same cursive text. If you're not really looking, you're in a rush and you're like, oh, I really need a drink of Coke. You're like, oh, there we go, that's Coke. Bang. Out you go, you drink it, and you go, what the hell is this? This isn't Coke. If it can trick you like that, if it looks similar enough that in a rush you can be tricked by it, it's illegal. And yet somehow they've gotten away with that, which tricked me. I know it's a different color, but...
Oh, this is Whiff City at the moment for Invictus. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure, especially because there's like the own brand stuff as well. It might just be like their own brand, and then it's sort of like, oh, if we sell your Monster Munch, you have to let us basically rip off your thing. So there are things like that where you're like Tesco own, which is almost identical to the original thing, just made of crappier ingredients.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find it as well with like branded technology. I know Dinko made a great point a while back about there's a comparison online, and this exists for many things, but where there will be like, it was for a cam link anyways. I won't bring up brands for future sponsor sake, but brand A and brand B.
My Tesco brand.
But brand A and brand B, for example, of a cam link, and there will be a video online where they open them up, and brand A is an actual, globally recognized brand that has prestige and is used by streamers, all that sort of stuff, and it's say $80, and then brand B will be just like some random Chinese factory brand that you've never heard of before, and it will be $6, and they are literally made in the same factory. Like, they come from the same place, and when you open them up, they are identical. The only difference is there's clearly an extra stage of the production step where they stamp in brand A to one of them, and then that costs, you're paying like
I've heard
$80
that about some chair brands, but I'm definitely not going to bring that up here.
Yeah, definitely don't do
that. Either way, it started off strong rear aggression from Destroyer. He will succeed this time. As said, I feel like he's very one-dimensional and he's not prepared. Maybe blaming flying a little bit there. Might have fallen asleep at the wheel. Even still, though, Invictus have got themselves a strong advantage. Remember, the last round was squeaky clean for ZIGMA, so their money's not in too bad a state, but they want to at least try and do some damage here. The economy of the CT side's pretty good. They've managed to weave their way through the smokes. 45 seconds. They're going to try and go barreling through them, flying left blind, but clearing his position is going to be tough. No, never mind. I guess not, really. It seemed like he wasn't aware, but the crossfire is enough, and we end 11-11. Just to bear in mind, this was, again, both pistols for ZIGMA. They were winning 7-2, and they just got they just got a round on the board, so their money is going to be hurting again, because they've sort of reset their own loss bonus. Invictus, on the other hand, have had to grind. They've had to climb back. Some crazy deagle kills out from Viva have given them a big boost, that's for sure. And I don't think this has been anywhere near the cleanest performance. So they could have had the pistol themselves if they didn't make some pretty serious errors. As said, we've seen them on the T side both check the same angles as they run into a position rather than actually working together. I definitely don't think things are completely ironed out just yet. And Sage actually gets bitten by his own trick. It turns out if you spray back with an AK into the smoke, it can work. Viva, are they going to check, though? They should. They definitely should, but they don't. And thus, the youngster again is going to get himself a double.
That was the advantage in play for Invictus for a moment, but it's been pulled back straight away. Nifty with another, and Flying's got a 1 versus 1 now. The B-site plant undoubtedly going to be coming through as Nifty drops that bomb onto the floor, and Flying's a little bit cautious about oh no, even better. He's played a deep flash towards Banana, but Nifty, he knows something is afoot. Flying's going to run on into him here, and Nifty, big brain. And the flash down towards the bottom Banana was obviously to try and sell out the fact that he was going Banana. But Nifty knew what was going on. He realized, well, why would you flash bottom Banana when you know I'm planting the bomb?
It's one of those things where it's like, I get the idea, like I see why it was done, but at the same time, like, who's flashing that? Like, you lose all element of surprise in a 1v1. Like, you basically... Like, it seems like the only time where you're talking about using utility would actually be a stupid thing to do. So he just played it in a way of like, okay, he's flashed down there. Even if he is going in that direction, I can play behind this smoke and he can't do anything about it. If he comes my way, I get a free kill.
Yeah, exactly.
So this round for the CT side is crunch time. Their money now on the brink. These are in just as bad a position. Viva, he has taken matters into his own hand over the last few rounds. And I can kind of see why. Like, his teammates haven't been playing their best, and he's been wrecking people with deegs. So, yeah, just had enough. The 20-year-old has decided just to run down Banana. And, well, I sort of set this up as a crucial crunch round. No one dies. No one dies.
Well, it's a nice clean one, isn't it? That's, I suppose, what we're here to see, some clean Counter-Strike, and when you walk away with all 5 players, you're going to be nice and happy, aren't you? Big smiles all around. And for Invictus, again, coming away with that round, it's a good answer back. It's a very important one, most definitely. And I think we saw an attempt at a much faster play, a much more aggressive brand of Counter-Strike coming out from ZIGMA, but in this instance, it most certainly has not worked out in their favor. I think they've got to be going back to the drawing board, but it's going to be one more round before we see exactly what that entails, because obviously they're coming into this round with nothing really. And of course, they've managed to double open it with PP Overdose. What the hell's going on?
Well, well, well. Nothing is sacred anymore, Mitch. Just nothing. Oh, okay. That was questionable. Viva, yeah. I feel bad for the dude at this point. Gonna pick up the AWP. Just expecting somebody to maybe peek. In fact, just gonna opt to try and save it, just walking away. Yeah. We've seen too many of these rounds. PP Overdose has definitely been one of those players to watch. High levels of risk to his gameplay. That's why his statistics are never really going to be crazy good. But yeah, he's given them, basically single-handedly given them a 13th round onto the board. And every time ZIGMA look like they're down, something happens to bring them back, be it a silly overface or a risk. I also don't understand how Invictus go from winning a flawless round to this. It just, sure, it's some nice shots, but it just wasn't good enough. And, well, their money is going to be all right. They can drop the AWP back over to Destroyer. ZIGMA will have to be handed a weapon as well, but other than that, it's going to be okay.
It genuinely feels sometimes like, you know, round to round, they are just completely different teams.
They're not buying?
And they
Why?
haven't all and nothing else. Why have they done that? Yeah, I don't know. Invictus are playing a really weird game right now. Like, peeking into the Deagles one at a time in the previous round. They only had one. Now they come into this one and they've decided that the investment just doesn't need to make sense.
They easily had enough money. Like, yeah. I think it was, okay, ZIGMA was a little bit low, but it could have been Viva buying himself, dropping the AWP over to Flying, or no, to Destroyer. Destroyer buys a rifle and no head armor, and then drops a gun over to ZIGMA. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I guess they're just going to win with the pistols instead, though, so it doesn't really matter too much. Okay. Yeah. There are some places where I just think they're not checking. Destroyer's got the bomb. For God's sake. This is Counter-Strike 101. What? What?
Again, I don't know. I don't know, Tom. I think there is very little that can be said.
Do you have like a power nap like midway through?
Oh man, you lock down the bomb, you just get wrecked. And I mean, again, we're in this position where it feels like on the Invictus side, there are 2 players that we can highlight that are the reason that they're alive right now. ZIGMA in the first couple rounds, Flying coming into the latter half of the T side, and then obviously Viva as well, I suppose, with his Deagle plays have been nuts. But it feels almost like a flash in the pan for Invictus, you know? Like, what are they doing the majority of the time? They're losing these rounds that they never should be. And for ZIGMA, 14-12, the likelihood is they end up walking away with this. This should have been an easy and quick 2-0. It's simple as. But somehow we're in this position. I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Oh, they saved for this buy. Still don't really understand why. Like, I think that mathematically they could have easily traded things out. Again, it's Viva. 23-12. He has been superb. I think, like, honestly, Destroyer is the one I'm looking at, where I just think he's had so many really questionable plays throughout this match. This is risky from Viva. But I almost feel like it's sort of like that catalyst player. Sort of like what we saw with Ronin in the last match, where it's like he almost has to do this, otherwise they lose, which is somewhat depressing because they should be the better team here. They're definitely better individually. It's just that, yeah, some of the plays, some of the synergy is really off so far in this match. And the T's were getting ready to try and make a play. towards A. They've been denied for now. Good flashbang. Doesn't actually get an assist off it. I don't really know how. Unless that's the T's flashbangs. No, it is. It's flying. Setting up Destroyer. A couple of better kills. Flying is going to go down eventually, but now Destroyer can switch his gaze, and he has support from Bottle as well. Rolex with 12 HP. I might actually just want to save here, but he's going to get taken down. Money is still in a really weird spot for ZIGMA because, again, they never seem to win any of these rounds particularly clean. So they can sort of buy. It's not going to be good, though.
Oh, I don't know what I'm watching sometimes, Tom. I'll be completely honest. Like, the fact that Invictus made the questionable buy in the previous round, then they basically won the round, and then they threw it away, and now they're in a position where yet again we're like, are you actually going to win this game? Like, as Dingo said earlier, and as I said yesterday, this is why I have trust issues. I don't know who I can believe, who I can trust in these sort of circumstances. And at the moment, it certainly seems to be at least a solid start for Invictus. They've come through with the opening, the crunch in on Banana, finding that opening frag, landing a position where at least this should be doable. Should be. Being the key word on that one. As the man advantage has left Xiao Sage on very low HP.
And here comes the push. Nice nade going through. Viva. Just an absolute machine with the spray down, the boost. Not checked. And, well, it leaves them to a 3v1. Now, we have seen far too many of these clutch situations come out for ZIGMA. It is basically the only reason they are in this match. They won 2 back-to-back 1v3s, and there's been some real disjointed retakes, I guess you could say. A Destroyer's waiting patiently. Actually, it looks like they're going to try and flash through the smoke. Bit of a risk. The Molotov's a good one, though, and that's much better. This is what we sort of expect to see from the likes of Invictus. They made that look very easy, barely took any damage, and have the retake no problems. And now this is actually the worst case, really, for ZIGMA. Their money is screwed. It's all right. Just get PP overdose at Deagle, and that'll be enough.
It should be. It should be. Based on what we've seen so far. You know, Logic is only a few steps away at any time, but it's always a few steps too far, it seems. I really would like to see Invictus, I guess, spend more time if they have. I don't know if they have a coach or not, but if they do, maybe spend some more time having a chat with him. Take him out to dinner. Figure out what's going on, because as you said, there's a lot of issues when it comes down to the synergy department. In this round, though, there shouldn't be any issues. There should not be a single worry when it comes to the ZIGMA side, because, or to thinking about the ZIGMA side, because Invictus have got everything to play with, and ZIGMA only have pistols. I've said this before, and then ZIGMA have gone on to win the round with the Deagle. So let's hope that this is the one time that logic prevails.
I'm not holding my breath, but I think we're good. I think we're good here. It's left on to Niffy with a Glock in a 1 versus 5. If he wins this, I'm turning off my computer. So thankfully, Bottle will keep me here. It is going to be ZIGMA now being able to buy. The last-ditch effort. It's been a weird match, for sure. I was expecting a lot more from Invictus on Inferno. I know Blair going into this sort of had his doubts. And the fact that this map came out for them, I can very much understand why now. This has not been convincing. They've made huge mistakes. And, well, it's evident they've got a hell of a lot of work to do. And if it wasn't for their 2 sort of young stars performing to a very, very high standard, they would have lost this map.
Some would say they should have picked Nuke. That's what Paddy O'Shea was telling me.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, he thought they had chosen it, but he was speaking Chinese, so it's kind of hard to understand sometimes. I haven't finished my degree in Mandarin, so gotta get there. Paddy O'Shea, of course, my good Chinese friend, is a ghost, obviously. Spirit. Conveys vetoes to me every now and then.
Oh, this is aggressive. trying to put the pain in here, but it's actually going to be Xiao Sage just, well, patient. He's not had a bad game either, to be fair. I think Bottle still looks out of place in a lot of these rounds. Flying, this is the crossfire. It's a little bit more of an aggressive crossfire than we normally see. Normally he's further back, but Destroyer does have his back this time. A little bit wary. Viva, okay, that time I don't agree with it at all. Like, you're already winning the round. Your teammate has 5 HP. That is a completely unnecessary peak. And now you've given away back into this round. Bottle's going to rotate in. There's a gap in that smoke. So he can just wait behind it. It looks like he's getting ready for a flash. He's actually going to go peeking in. It's risky, but it works. And eventually, Invictus get the job done. It wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. And some of the plays were downright bad. And